Hey guys, I don't know if draw something ever stumps you, but when I have to draw something, I usually just try to knock out a figure drawing session. I really, really like them with the Croquis Cafe because they're just a nice 20-minute video of a filmed life drawing session. Proko also has a really good timer tool. I think there's also a handful of free ones. New Masters Academy has a couple on YouTube. There are a bunch of resources, and I love them all. But I figured I might as well walk you through what I do. If this is of any help, I don't know. So here in Blender, I'm just gonna actually open up a 2D animation scene because no point in working in the 3D space when we're just playing around with the brushes and practicing how to use those. But I essentially grab the marker. I make sure that pen pressure is on for both of those. And then here in this figure drawing session, you guys know how to draw figures, but you go ahead and you've got your, I would show you what I'm looking at, but it's got nudity, so we can't record that. The wonderful thing about the Croquis Cafe is that they actually have timed poses where they start at 1 minute and then go to 2 and then go to, look at that, I'm always messing up my proportions. Groin in the center, people. But you start at 1 minute and then you go to 2 and then you finish with the 5, and it's just a really nice brainless way of just practicing this. So the first couple of these are gestures. How do we get more of that in there? I'll start with the marker, which I've adjusted, and then I'll just go into the pencil. And like Moritz said, the wonderful thing about just the basic brushes, like if you can learn how to work with those, they're so nice to your computer because you don't want to overtax it because you're going to be drawing like a gazillion of these. Oops, see, look at that. That's 1 minute. I actually did too many of these at one point. Bucket down there, pelvis over there, face over there. What a fun angle. She's over there. Collar down there. What's happening? That's happening. Bloop. Bloop. And an arm out here. And that one's actually stretching and collecting that. So we'll start with that for the gesture. And I have a little bit more time to like define things in here. So what are the important things to define? I don't know, it's gesture drawing, so hopefully we don't run out of time. Oh, we ran out of time. Ran out of time, always running out of time. Next one is down here. You can get really lazy with digital figure drawing like this because look at this, I've just filled up the whole canvas already, and that's no problem because I'm just gonna resize them in a sec. Face down there. Where's our head? Our head's going there, 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 there. Important to get that in there. We actually have something funky going on with the ankle, so that's going to be an important thing to define when we get down here, if we have time, because this is going in front of this, and we want to make sure that we get this in before we run out of time, and we won't, because we always run out of time. Running up that hill, running up that building. think her hand was up there too, but all right. So, like I said, we have the opportunity to take these guys, move them over here, scale them down, and then continuing on with the next one, which is neat because we've got this going on here. She's extra bendy, so if we've got her pelvis here, that's coming there, that's coming there, swoosh, swoosh. Kenzo taught me a wonderful thing about connecting the legs when you can, if you can. Kenzo from Love Life Drawing, really good dude, does a lot of collabs with Lane Brown, who's also such a phenomenal figure teacher. Whoops. By holding down shift and middle mouse button, I can swoosh this stuff around. Shoulders are important things. What does your belly look like? It looks like that. Okay. This is another. Do we have time to clean this up? We don't have time to clean this up. We never have time to clean this up. That's okay, because this is gesture drawing, and gesture. I also never spend enough time on the face, alas. You go over there, you go down. Next. Pop back into our marker. Doop, 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 doop. Look at that, look how cute she is. She's got her hand over here. That's gonna be an important thing to define if we can, because this pose has a lot of that hand. Body is there, messed up the rib cage. This is not a good pose, but you know what? Doesn't matter, because the point is just doing these, not doing them well. It is quantity over quality. So that's there. Okay, so the important thing in this pose is just jumping in there and defining that hand and face. So bloop, 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 doop, doop. That's going there. Face. Why don't we ever have time to make nice drawings? Oh my goodness. Okay, back into that, tab into our edit mode, scale and move that guy down over there, and then yay, we're onto the 2-minute poses, which are much nicer. Isn't it nice to have time to do things? So this one has foreshortening, foreshortened sticks. Her pelvis is almost invisible underneath there, but we do have a little bit of that coming here, like there, bloop, bloop. That ankle line might be a valuable thing there. We've got one arm coming down here as her face is nestling into her arm. This is just the Loomis head, which is not honestly the most useful, but weirdly I guess it's just the one that I default to, especially when I have to go super duper fast. But I'm sure you guys know the Loomis head and the angles that that provides, so at least it's a really nice shorthand for that. Okay, gesture down. Let's get in and face good. Eyes closed. Chill. And her hand is back here going doop, 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 doop. It's covered by her hair. That's coming there. That's there. It's important to get a little bit of that perspective in there, I think. Don't know. Would this be better to do with the pen tool? Honestly, probably, but I'm scared. I like doing this in 3 layers and really refining with the pen in the last iteration of this, but I really probably should be using this as pen right now. So we really only see that arm there, 1 and 2, as she leans back. Her hand is actually going off of her pelvis. So I've really got to double down on learning how to better control standing poses. Those are so much easier. So we'll go into our marker. We'll do something really nice and quick and gestural. That there is a slight tilt happening, not a huge one, but something where we can do that. Feetsies. I don't know why Pokemon's stuck in my head. There's classical music playing on the video itself, but it is definitely not Pokemon classical music, because that would be asking for a lawsuit. And that would be funny. Should we just do it? Should we just go into the, pen tool right away? All right, one thing that I do with the pen tool, which I find incredibly helpful, just pause the video. What we can do is inside of these brush tool properties, inside these brush settings, we can actually adjust how that fall off is going to work. So I really like it when the pen tool, has a really strong stroke, but still does utilize a little bit of that pen pressure sensitivity. So it'll normally default to a line like this, where it's like gray and you have to really press to get some good stuff out of it. But if you take your brush tool settings and you drop that down, you can get a really nice line like that has a little bit of that fall off on the density of it. Because watch, if I turn this off completely, you get this, and it's not bad. It's like much more of a comic look, but just aesthetically, I prefer something that's just got a little bit more variation on the very, very end of it. So, pen tool, we're not afraid of using pen because it's okay to make mistakes. My dad won't hit me this time. Just kidding, my dad didn't hit me. He was a good dad. But get the brow ridge in there because I need to do more faces. Why do I need to do more faces? Because sometimes they look like that. Make her a little happier. Everyone likes a happier person. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Let's actually amp this up a little bit too. Let's make this like 6. That feels a little bit better. Especially as we're like diving in here and putting in our landmarks. What are the important things? You've got to remember the important things. Oh no. The important things. She look off balance. She looks so off balance. But that's okay. We're just doing shit to do shit. Because that's what figure drawing is. And we hate it. And we hate ourselves because we need to get better at art. Because we want to do everything all the time and be the best at everything. But we can't do that because that's inhuman, and we need to realize that everyone's good at different things. So let's do that connecty foot thing that Kenzo always talks about. There, see, in the back, foot's connected, legs connected. It's all one thing. It's all one thing. And she's over there. She's there. bloop, 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 bloop. And then she actually has an arm coming down there. So yeah, really important center line down the spine there. That's coming there, that's coming there, that's there, that's there. That is, oh look at that, that hand, so that hand actually goes there. So we can do something like, look at that, legs too short. Maybe it's just because my legs in real life are too short. Maybe I always just draw myself. We're all Sabrina Carpenter in here. Think about me, think about no, la 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 la, espresso. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Yeah, we never actually did make it into the pen tool for that. The important thing is there are a couple really nice things that are important to like drop in there though. Just would be bad and pause the video because sometimes it's nice to drop in things like shadow lines and faces. Something I do, which I'm sure most people have done this by now, is I always just put my undo button on the mouse so I can instantly just undo that with a click. I'm also really lucky that I'm left-handed and I use the mouse with my right hand. So if you also are that lucky, do recommend. Look at the iliac crest. Everybody needs an iliac crest, 'cause if you don't have an iliac crest, your guts will fall out. Guys, look how bad these are balanced. They're not balanced super duper great. But you know, oh, we have to go faster. Look at this. This is definitely taking more than 2 minutes. Bad. Take you, scale you, drop you, lock you, put you there, you belong there. That's drawing jail. You're all in drawing jail. Now fade into oblivion. Just kidding, don't do that. All right, next pose. 2 minutes, and we're actually gonna stick to the 2-minute timer. Or maybe we'll cheat again. Anyway. Face up there, arms there, bloop, 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 bloop. She's like really got her hip out. Get at 'em. So that's there, and she's like definitely bending down, which will affect the angle of that. And look at that, tiny legs. Everybody's got tiny legs, because I only really just draw myself because we're all just tiny people in here. She's pushing that. That is a pushed angle. It's coming there, hand there, goes bloop bloop. Good job, girl. Okay, let's pop into our pencil to refine that. Up here, up here. Look at that horrible head. Nobody. Bloop bloop. Bloop. Why do we draw girls? Because they're prettier than men and they're squishier than men. So when you make mistakes or you make them super flowy, it doesn't matter because they're squishier. Except my friend Tasha. My friend Tasha's a beast. Oh, look at that. Look at that. See? Angle no bueno. So that goes there. That's going there because we're really pushing that up. And she's got some defined delts. Remind me to get into lifting because that's how you age gracefully. We are not hitting a 2-minute timer. Is she flipping us the bird? No, she's just pointing at us. It's important to get an angle in on the wrist. I like putting an angle in on the wrist so that you have an idea of the perspective of like how that's getting in there and how that's connecting, making your wrist a boxy, boxy, boxy box. Okay, so the important thing is this is really like doubling over. So if we can put in some lines to really emphasize like the perspective of that really leaning forward and down, can we do that? Maybe. Oh, did we do it? Did we do it? Did we do something good for once? It's like her abdominal muscles are just like all gonna be on top of each other because everything there is gonna be foreshortened sticks. So thinking about me every night. Oh, it is espresso. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop, boop. I've got this one done. What is she doing with her face? What is anybody ever doing with their face? What am I doing with my face? Who knows? Knows. Who does know? Who knows of anything? Okay, what are we doing here? This is how that shoulder muscle works. That deltoid connects up and over. Duh. Otherwise, your arm would not work. Your arm would not work. Alright, all of this is all sorts of like overlap, so we're just gonna... Oh, we're ignoring the timer. So bad. So bad. So bad, you guys. Fuck the rules. Oop, nobody heard me say that. The rest of that's kind of covered by hair. Okay, now how do we explain what is really happening? Because we're looking down at her chest cavity. Blip, blip. We can do that a little bit by... Does that help? That does not help. And that's not what's happening in our reference image anyway. Okay. We've got this really nice shadow shape on her tummy. Don't forget to give women hips because we need those. And organs. If you don't have organs, you're gonna be sad. And you don't wanna be sad. No. What are we doing there? I don't even know. What does anybody know? What does anybody know about anything? All we know is that we did it. We did another one. You're welcome, universe. What a peculiar pose. We totally goofed. This is why we can't have nice things. Alright. 5-minute pose. 5 minutes. 5 minutos. So instead of like, alright, this is gonna be the star. The star. The star. I'm just gonna shrink these up, bring them over here so we can have a nice space for our 5-minute pose. So, since we actually have the time to think about this and bring it all out, that's gonna go like that. That does that. Her rib cage is actually tilting this way, her arms over there, arms over there, bracing it. Thumb, hand, head, back, that direction. Head up. So sad. Oh no, what are we doing? Oh, it's so sad, life. We mourn it. It's actually pretty cool. Her neck's actually pretty elongated. We've got clav, clav, clav. And then the hand. Okay, now that we've got that in there, let's do our favorite thing and use our larger marker here, sketch in the shadow shapes, because these are important things. Okay, shadow shapes. We like the shadow shapes. There's a little bit of a shadow shape here on the arm, because shadows are depth. Do we like depth? Don't we? Don't we? This is how I should have been doing these all along, but I am lazy and do not care. Knee shadow shape, knee shadow shape. It's more important to think of drawing as painting than actually graphic design. Well, maybe it's not. I don't know. Don't listen to me. That. Just got that going there. That. And she's all like, morning. Did we skip our pencil stage? I think we skipped our pencil stage. Well, we're putting in the important lines anyway. It's just we want to put in stuff like canine line. Look at that, isn't that cool? The way that her neck kind of like bloops like that. Also, what the hell is that jawline? We're just calling that an undo. And we're not telling anybody, but that's the wonderful thing about working digitally. Nobody, we get the undos. We get them. Oh, really cool shadowy shape down there. We'll have the opportunity to really refine. Look at that arm. Isn't that lovely? Take that there. Take you there. She's got like this baby arm there. We love it. We love a girl that can throw a punch. We have our thumb coming in here. Backs of the hand, the knuckles. Everybody needs a knuckle. We'll need to refine that with the pen tool at a later point in time. So what the hell is going on with that face? Also, her trapezius needs to do that. Everybody's trapezius needs to do something, and hers needs to do that. That is much more proportional. Goodness gracious, girl. What did I do to your mouth? Can I, on behalf of literally everybody, apologize? What did I do to your face? Definitely should have sketched that out with pencil line beforehand. Oh, I see what's going on. It's weird because it's an up angle. Everybody likes up angles. Not really. Nobody likes up angles. Are you okay? No, you're sad. Because the timer ran out, but we're not paying attention to the timer. Because we don't have to. Is the hand too big? That's the problem with working zoomed in. Don't do that, you idiot. Okay, so that's interesting because what we see is that little hint of a foot back there. A hinty hint. And that. And that. And this. This. It's going lower, so we want to indicate something going even lower with that square knee. Okay. Let's get sloppy with the face, because if it's sloppy, no one will look at it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's the eye cavity. She's got a closed eye. Let's go ahead and just get rid of those completely messed up nostril lines we made earlier. Her brow goes like that. Her nose is going to go like that. No. It's not what mountains look like. We give her a little charm because she's a woman. But frankly, these are not things that are necessary. Hair.